Welcome back, everybody. This is Barry and Eric again at Moss Pond, and we got another video concept we want to explore for you today. And we've actually been giving this some thought there for a while. I know you guys saw one of the most recent gun gripes where we talked about the survival mentality and basically just the mindset that you have to have for being in a survival situation, everything like that. We've thought we would expand on that a little bit. Now, there's a lot of different things that go into a survival situation. Once you understand that there's going to be factors that are out of your control at all times, then you'll understand the true gist of what it means to really be prepared. And there are different levels of preparedness. There's different concepts and mentalities that can be kind of put into play for being prepared. One of the ways you can be prepared is have some type of firearm. Now, obviously, if you're unlucky, you may run into a situation where you don't have a firearm. But if you can prepare towards having it, it's always good to have some type of gun. And that's what these particular videos are going to be about today, are going to be great guns for survival. We've got 5 models here that we've deemed to be ideal survival guns. Okay? And Barry, why don't you start us off here?
Well, they're all under $300 too. That's what we're trying to keep people on a budget. We want to give you a serviceable weapon for a little bit of money. This Mossberg is a model 88. It's a plain Jane 12 gauge. Safety's down here. It's not drilled like a 500, but this gun is well under $300, and it's a great little home defender. You can shoot slugs, buckshot, birdshot, cut shells, any kind of load you want out of
wax slugs.
Wax slugs. You can fire specialty rounds out of here, rubber buck, anything like that. Now, this little Marlin 22 is a Model 60. Now, when I was a kid, this was the top gun to have, was a Model 60 Marlin. But when Bill Ruger came out with the 1022, this one got pushed aside for the 1022, but this is still a fine gun. And when I was a kid, we shot these things, we shoot a brick of ammunition out of these things every weekend for years. It's a nice little gun. It's tube feed. It's not like a 1022. There's not going to be any real quick reloading with 30-round magazines, 25-round magazines, or whatever. But this is a fine little gun. Micro groove rifling. These guns are very accurate.
But the main thing with this gun that's nice is it's stainless steel, so it's very impervious to the elements. Now, granted, yes, it's not magazine fed like some of the Rugers are, but it is a wonderful gun, and for the price point, this is definitely a lot of gun for the money. In a survival situation, a good 22 tends to be very underrated. And like Barry said, with this Maverick 88, this is a wonderful shotgun. You do have the ability to have it set up as a repeater, of course, so you have multiple rounds at your disposal. If you want something a little more compact, you can get in something like one of these takedown style shotguns. Now, this is an older shotgun. These aren't really made anymore to my knowledge, but this is one of the little, I believe it's a Con. Yeah,
made in Turkey.
Yeah, well, Turkish Con, and it's a Survival Model 12. It's a 12 gauge shotgun with a 3-inch chamber, which is nice because you can fire a variety of loads through it. It'll handle cut shells, waxers, pretty much anything you can put in it.
It's already got sling swivels.
Got the sling swivels. So this is a nice gun that you can break down in half.
Just fold her up.
And just fold her up. And that's something that'll go in the backpack or your 3-day pack, whatever, or tie a piece of rope around it and throw it around your shoulder and you got your little survival gun. Easy to clean. A wonderful little setup, not a whole ton of moving parts, so nothing really to go wrong out in the field, but you are limited to 1 round. A shotgun, I believe, and I'm sure Barry would agree with me, is probably the best overall survival weapon there is. Just because the wide variety of ammo that you can get for them and the wide variety of situations they can be used for. Another thing about shotguns that I want to drive home when it comes to survival is that shotgun shells are relatively easy to reload without any specialty tools. So if you find yourself out in the middle of nowhere and you get lucky and you find some odd primers, powder, and some components laying around, you can reload your spent shells using that stuff. So that's a nice thing about shot shells, is there's definitely a variety of random things you can get done with them.
Well, I'd like to say something about this gun too. When I worked for Military Armament Corporation back in the 80s, we used to take these guns and pistolize them. And you can have a gun, we cut them off right here, and you got a gun that's like 9 or 10 inches long that you can shove in your glove compartment of your car. Well, we did a lot of these conversions. Of course, you have to have it federally registered to do that. Now, we're moving on down here to the Ruger Standard Auto. Now, up until this gun was developed, I think in 1947, the Colt Woodsman, the high standard military models and all, they were king of the hill. But when Bill Ruger came out with this gun for $37.50, I believe was the original price of this gun, way back when. But this gun is not particular about what ammo it shoots. You don't have to pick out certain kind of ammo or anything for it. If it's a .22 LR, this gun will eat it up. And these are very reliable. I've been shooting these for years and years and years, and they're very reliable.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with a pistol and a .22 caliber when it comes to survival, just due to their lightweight. The ammunition's lightweight. And one thing I want to mention about .22 pistols, when Japan invaded Alaska during World War II, they had a special unit of soldiers that they basically commissioned that were really nothing more than Eskimos. And they basically put them in a uniform, gave them M1 Garands. They issued them Garands and a .22 caliber target pistol. And they used those to great effect to survive out in the wild. And that was one benefit that those soldiers had over the Japanese, was that that was their homeland. That was where they were used to surviving. They could go out in the woods with a .22 caliber target pistol, kill game, sometimes big game, and live in the woods on their own, separated from the main elements of the army for weeks at a time. And the Japanese couldn't do anything about it because they couldn't survive out there. The nice thing about a .22 pistol is that with the slightly lower velocities, if you choose your rounds carefully, they can be relatively quiet. If you shoot an animal or something at close range with a .22 caliber target pistol with a short barrel, then typically you're not really going to hear it from a long ways off. So if you're trying to survive, I guess it's kind of an inconspicuous manner where you're trying to kill game or whatever, you don't want to make a lot of racket. Sometimes a .22 pistol is nice because it would take, I guess a bad stroke of bad luck for someone to hear you. And from everything I read, that was one of the things that the Alaskan troops ran into, is that they were able to kill game and do all those sorts of things without the Japanese hearing them. And then when it came time to attack, of course, they brought out their Garands, but they were issued .22 caliber target pistols for survival during World War II. And this, to this day, really, a .22 caliber target pistol is just a great way to go.
Yep.
What's the last one we got here?
Well, we got a Henry U.S. survival rifle. These were developed years and years ago as to put in pilots' bailout kits as a survival weapon. You probably saw these in the 60s in the James Bond movies. These were highly used in those early movies with Sean Connery. But everything stores in the stock.
Keep talking. Got it.
You put the receiver in there, tighten it down. The barrel is lined, a steel lined barrel. It's got these new models have a keyway in them. There's no way to mess up with this. It's absolutely positive. The old ones were made of plastic. They would get out of alignment and get malformed, but the new ones have the alignment pin that fits right in the receiver cut, and you got yourself a .22 rifle. Now these magazines hold 7 rounds, but they do make a 10-shot magazine for the Henry rifle, but we're out of stock on those right now. But you can get 10 rounders, and with the new rifle you get 2 magazines. And the whole gun, I believe, weighs less than 3 pounds when it's put together. Very lightweight. And it will float assembled or disassembled.
Semi-automatic .22 caliber survival rifle.
That's it.
And so you went from basically a flotation device to a rifle. So, this is a gun that's basically marketed for survival. And yes, a .22 caliber again. This is basically goes back to that same old adage. You can't go wrong with a .22 caliber rifle across the board. Of course, any of these concepts can be substituted based on what your budget is and what your overall scheme for survival is. I mean, if you wanted Ruger 10/22 and you don't mind carrying around about 5 or 6 BX-25s, well then that particular rig not only is a survival rifle, but is a potential combat rifle. I mean, you can defend yourself properly with a .22 caliber rifle with good shot placement and proper tactics. But again, that's kind of getting off on a different subject. But we hope you guys found this video informative, and these are pretty much our top picks for survival, especially if you're going to plan on having to get in a survival situation and you're only going to have one gun with one type of ammunition. These are the choices that if you had to choose any one of these, I think you'd be pretty good shape.
Well, these are all good choices, but there again, they might not necessarily be the main choice that we would have, but these are under $300. We're trying to keep you within a budget here.
Oh, yeah.
And trying to be sensible with this thing. But any of
That's
these
right.
guns will serve you very well.
I would say overall, if I had to choose one survival gun to have in any situation, now granted, there's guns that I like more, but we're not talking about what guns you like. We're talking about what you'd want to have in a survival situation. For me, a Mossberg 500A, or just, you know, good old Mossberg 500 with polymer stock, parkerized.
That's beautiful.
That would be my ideal survival gun. You don't have to worry about the elements as much because it's parked.
Or you can just go ahead and buy a 590A1,
Yep.
military issue with a
Yep.
heavy barrel and steel.
That's
everything.
a good setup. A 590A1 or a 500, I think, would be my #1 choice for a survival gun. Just the fact that, you know, you got all the different loads out there that'll do so many different things. You can defend yourself with it. You can shoot relatively long range with slugs. You can shoot up close and shoot game. And there are chamber inserts out there. Now, I don't know how well they would work in a pump, but in a single shot like this, they do make chamber inserts that you can fire stuff like 9mm, 22 LR,
357 Magnum.
357 Magnum. Now, it may not be as accurate, but in a standpoint, if you have to dispatch something or dispatch an animal at close range, that could be a lifesaver as well. So in future videos, we will be discussing some other survival-related things. Bear with us, we will get to it. Of course, we touched on guns first because that's pretty important. If you're in a survival situation and you are armed, you definitely stand a lot better chance of not dying.
Well, here's another thing. This is a 26.5mm flare gun. Kennesaw Cannon makes an insert that you can shoot 22 LRs out of this. They make an insert that you can shoot 410 shot shells and 45 Colt out of your flare gun. But you have to remember, when you put that in there, you have converted this into a firearm, and you still have to obey all the laws of your area or whatever.
Right.
But that will give you a survival option if you had one of these, like on a boat.
That's right.
Or something like that. You got something to signal with, and you've also got something you can defend yourself with.
That's right. You know, a Pelican case with a flare gun and several flares, inserts, and a little bit of ammo might not be a bad thing to have.
But you could buy this flare gun with a 45 410 insert from Kennesaw Cannon. You'd have about $100 tied up in both of them.
That's right.
In both of them. And you got a lot of versatility. You put 410s in this and kill game at close range with it. You shoot 410s or 45 Colt out of it. Or you can get the 22 insert.
Well, all right. We hope you guys, you know, found this video informative. We plan on doing more like this, and we just want to throw this out there for you guys.
Well, all right. Y'all have a good evening, and God bless you, and come back later and see us again.
Always.
All right.